Sunday night webinar. We're getting ready for another hour of Tech Talk, and we're glad you're here. I'm Gene Colbago.
And I'm Roger Carroll.
And this is the Sunday night webinar. You can see on your screen, I hope, that this is the date and the web number 111. If you ever need to find the particular numbers, you can go to the Teacher Resource Center. There's a page there with all the numbers for the webinars for the year, so you can get them there. And with that, I think we should begin. I'm going to have to get rid of this, and it's not, we got to figure out a neater way to do this, Raj. It doesn't do it. Hey, my first thing, I found out something really cool, Raj. It's kind of a hint. First of all, Raj and I use Chrome, but this also works in Firefox, and we'll show you that in a minute. And one of the things that we do is across the top, we have a bookmark line, and many of you probably have that as well, a line of bookmarks across the top where you can put, a number of your favorite bookmarks. And my one regret, I guess one of my regrets, I have a lot of them, has been that you can only put, 7 or 8 up there?
Depends. And then they don't. Yeah, you can shorten them, but yeah.
Well, I'm going to show you how to shorten them even more tonight.
All right.
All right, yeah. Now, if you look over here, I've already shown you a short, I've got an example. Do you notice that this is my link to my school email? If I click on that, I'll go to my school email. Okay, all right. But with one little thing, and it's got all of that stuff, I really don't need that. I know that that icon is my school email, so I can get rid of this verbiage, the web link, and go to it just by that. And it saves a lot of space, and it'll allow for more bookmarks up there. And it's pretty simple, pretty simple. For example, here's the Niagara Library System. And if, I know this, excuse me, all I need to do to shorten this is right-click on it, okay, go to Edit, and notice you'll see 2 lines. One says Name URL. Simply erase the name, hit Save, and now there it is right there. Now, if I look up there and go, what the heck is that? I can hover over it. Excuse me, I've got a little bit of a cough. And I see the URL. Pretty simple. Again, New York Learns. I only want that little icon. Right click, edit, take away the name, boom, and hit save. And you'll notice over here, I'm getting more room that I can put more stuff in, more bookmarks. So if you want, see, I have like 3 bookmarks in the space that I would have had 1 before. It also works for Firefox. If you're using Firefox, it's just slightly different, but it works basically the same. If you go to Firefox, right-click on the link. There is no edit there. Go down to Properties. Do the same thing. Okay, erase the name, hit save, and you've done the same thing. I just thought that was kind of a cool little way of saving yourself some space and providing yourself with a number of more bookmarks if you are interested in doing that. Does it pretty quickly. I just thought that was kind of a cool little thing, and now I got to try to find out where I am and who I am. Okay, excuse me. I'm having a cough tonight. I may have to go to you pretty soon, Raj. Okay, the first thing that I'd like to cover tonight is I'd like to just introduce something that I've been working on for some time. I'm hoping I can get to it. And we know that there's been some interest these days in the teachers who are transferring their web pages from New York Learns over to Blackboard, the school web page, the district web page. And quite a few people have been doing that, and they've been finding it very, very easy and I think a simpler process to use to create websites and to update them. So what we've done is we've created a page that has some hints and some materials that might help you if you're interested. And I'll take you there. It's under Technology Resources for Teachers. And if you go down, I think you'll find, I hope, the Niagara Falls City School District Teacher Website Guideline. Okay, now, you know, it starts off, and it's got a couple of questions, you know, because what shall I put on my website? What style should I use to make it look professional? We are trying to ask teachers to make it look a little bit better. And how then do I create my page? And that's what we've tried to answer on this page. So the first thing, there is a 6-page or so guideline. This is not a how-to. This is a guideline to web pages. What you should put on your web page, how can you go about it, how do I make it look professional? And it's a PDF that you can either just open and take a browse through or read. Let's see if I can get to it real quickly. Yes. Okay, see, so again, what should I have, you know, why should I have a page? What are my responsibilities? Things like that. What purposes can my web page serve? You know, how do I create it? Things I can put on my website, things like this. There's some very good information. You know, how to keep it, what should be on the first page, keeping it, copyrights, things like that. Use of student information. This is very, very important. We have certain guidelines. The district has certain guidelines. And, you know, certain things like linking to other sites. And then there are some tips and guidelines, stuff like that. So it's a very, I think this is a pretty good little document that you might want to take a look at. And then if you go down farther, we have another document. This is a document that was given to us from BOCES, as I recall, right, Raj, Amy, I believe?
Emily, yes.
Emily.
Right.
Oh boy, my mind just went. Sorry. Thank you, Emily. And she shared it with us, and we put it in there. And in order to try to, well, I guess to help you a little bit, what I've done down below is I've tried to put the document here in kind of in videos in case you get confused as to how to log on or how to get to your web space or creating a new page and so forth. So you can go down to some videos here. I should spell teacher wrong, right. I just noticed that. Ooh, bad. And again, here are some videos. And if you know, are interested in building a teacher website and you have not started yet, I think the first step is to make sure that you do have an account, a login. And probably the first thing is, if you've never done anything with your website before, is to just drop Roger or me an email. We'll make sure you're all set up, and that, I think, in return you'll get a how shall I put it? A suspicious looking email, Raj? That might be the term.
Well, yeah, you'll get out of the ordinary, at least.
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, that says something about changing your password, and it's perfectly legitimate. It's perfectly legal, in which you set up the password to sign in, so that you can then proceed to your teacher website and work on it. So yeah, if you're interested, please drop us an email, and we'd be glad to get you going on the teacher website. And like I say, I think you'll find that the Blackboard is much easier to use than New York Learns. I thought it was a lot more fun, to be honest with you. Okay, Raj, I can go on, but why don't I ship it over to you, and I'm going to try to get rid of this tickle in my throat. And then when you're ready, you can give it back, and hopefully I'll be all cured by then. Okay?
Very good.
I will make you presenter. Poof, you are a presenter.
Okay. And I think you're looking at my page.
Yeah, somewhat down toward the bottom, yes.
Towards the top here.
Yes, we are.
And with how about with the a quick show of hands? People, if on your dashboard, raise your hand if you are a current user of Blackboard, have created any content at all on the new Blackboard system. Raise your hands.
Yeah, if you have.
So we'll get an idea of where I'm going.
Yeah, I see a couple. Yeah, I see several, 2 or 3, simply 2 or 3. And this may be for 4, 2 reasons.
Okay, David, I know, of course.
Yeah. And if you haven't, we hope you would like to.
I know some have. I may not find the hand raise. I know I've worked with a couple people.
Yeah.
But anyway, that just gives me an idea that I'm not talking to uninitiated users with the dashboard and all of that stuff. As you can see, Gene referenced the Chrome thing. I've got pretty much the same idea. I've retyped some of the things in my shortcuts. But anyway, here we are with my home page. So you in your schools, I believe we have done a pretty good job, Gene, with getting everyone who is assigned to a school, at least they're listed in the teacher web pages directory of their respective schools.
We hope so.
Point out that Gene and I are both listed, as well as our other temp partners, Marie Bieksa and Shirley Tita, are also listed on every school's teacher web page directory. So we're easy to find, and our email addresses are there, and so on. And one of the reasons that we have gone ahead and done that is to make to show by example what you can do, and to make us easier to find and contact as well. Gene, I don't know. I think I saw a hand up. I think, well, you know what? We're going to raise the hands, okay? Just because we've got ourselves.
I do not
the
see
basic
more
information.
Other than
clicked on that. So what I want to show, just again by way of example, since Gene started it off with some good information on the basics of getting started, in a few weeks, the district is going to do a total upgrade of the look and style of the district web page, each of the individual schools, and so on. It will not affect what you have done to date if you've done anything so far with your web pages. It's just going to enhance it and make it friendlier for a lot of different access points. Might be a phone or a tablet or an iPad or something. So that is coming, and we're going to have Judy Glasser as a guest. I want to time that out so that it will make the most sense to most people with everything she has to talk about, because she is the webmaster, website director for the entire school district. She puts up the front page. She does all the communications and things, and has a lot of information to share. From her standpoint as the communications director, and tips, do's, don'ts, etc. for teacher web pages and reminders and so on. So we'll let you know well in advance when she is available to join us. There are 2 things that I've been working on, actually more than 2 things, but 2 things I want to share with you tonight. There is an ongoing project with music teachers in the district who came up with a great idea for sharing how to play instruments. And what they're doing is compiling, creating, and finding some videos that music students, and if you're in an elementary school, a good number of all the classrooms, you have kids taking music, playing instruments, playing in the band, etc., on through the prep school and the high school, certainly. But they want to provide some help for these students because unfortunately many of our music teachers work in several of the buildings, some as many as 2 or 3 different buildings on a rotating basis throughout the week. So it's hard to maintain a constant contact with their music students. So one of the teachers has an idea for putting out some help for these students, some basic show students how to play a trumpet, how to make sound on a trumpet, how to actually play a scale and different registries on trumpets, and all across the whole, possible instruments in the school band and so on. It's a great project, and what we're working on is creating the videos and then trying to find the right medium to bring them to the students to access them for them to practice and play, because they can pause and repeat them over and over and over again, and the music teacher doesn't have to be right there in front of them. The kids could access this information at home and so on. And there are a couple of ways that we're looking at, and talking about this might give you an idea of some things that you can do with video, etc., using the website as a tool, and using some of the features in Office 365. Also, another thing that we are exploring. So what I've done here on my web page, if you go to it, I've got a couple of things going on here, just showing how to hierarchy or hide or nest some videos and work pages in general. But here is a music lesson videos page that I created the last couple of days. And this is a unique feature in the web page management tool. If I click on this, and I will, you won't hear it, but you can go to my web page on any of your devices and try this out yourself. But what I found was it's how to make sound on a trumpet. It's a Wynton Marsalis YouTube video. The concern we have, and we have to test this out, is can a student in a school outside the school that got access, can they do it in the school because it's a YouTube video? But it was a very simple process. If I just simply click on that page, now this is a direct link to the YouTube, and it's only about 1 minute and 11 seconds long, from Wynton Marsalis. And I'm just going to start it. Obviously you won't hear it, but you can go play it on your own. If I play it here, Wynton Marsalis comes on and talks about making the basic sound on the trumpet. And he breaks it down into 3 steps. Let's say in roughly a minute's time, I think I could probably pick up a trumpet and make some noise come out of it. But sharing it here on this page was a simple process. I used a feature called, it's a article library. And I'm going to take you behind the scenes here in a second to show you how to do that, which you can do all of these things on your web page as well. And the second thing I want to show you is app related, and I'll show you what's going on here. I created another page. It's called a book list, and it's a book app. And I'll show you how that works. And I just put 3 examples up here of 3 books that I think are certainly worthy of attention. And you get prompted through each of the pieces of this app, and it's all pre-structured for you. Notice also I included here is an RSS, meaning you could subscribe to this page using a computer or your smartphone, and when a change is made to this page, perhaps another book added and so on, you would get a message saying there's new content there. So both this and the music lessons video page I created using the page editor. And what you do simply is when you up here, instead of where it says Site Manager, it will say Log In. So you will log in with the access code that you were given by the system. It's basically it looks like your email address and a password. So we're going to go into the Site Manager, but I'm going to edit this, show you what's going on with this page in particular. I'll close this out just for a second. When you are given access, in other words, you can create and work on the content on your own page, you'll get a page like this. It's called Current Pages. The one that you get will be mostly blank. You might have one page here. Each of these things that you see here are pages, all of which appear here when you go to your page. Each one of these is a page that's represented here. And there's some other things here. I don't want to delay anything here, getting in too technical, but you can turn the pages on and off. As you can see, they're either active or inactive and so on. But if I go all the way down to the bottom here, keep scrolling, here are my two most recent ones. Now I can change the order they appear and everything on this. I don't want to get into that this week, but I want to point out just a couple of quick things. With the music lesson videos, notice each of these icons or images are just slightly different. The most common one that you're going to be working with is called a content app. But there are other apps that have some unique and specific features that make life a little easier for you, and that's what I was using on my book list here and my music lessons. So let's edit this page. And notice that the music, it tells you what app is on this page. These are called apps, and again, the half dozen or so of you who raise your hand already know that. But the one that we're talking about is probably the one we recommend you start with is a content app. So when you pick an app that you want to work with, you drag it from this side of the screen over to this side of the screen to make it functional. So if I want to add an app over here, notice, I don't know how well you can see the on your screen.
You see it very well, very well.
Depending on where I place it, notice a little green area, I guess green for go. Okay, I can go and put my content app above the article library app. I can put it below the library article app. And I can do this with app after app after app, something that Gene hinted at. But all of these different apps, as I said, have a specific and unique purpose. The one that is the most used is the content because it's very generic. I have an article library app here. So I'm going to let's take a look at that, what's going on with this, the article library app. Here, this means I can add another article, the plus sign, and I can edit it. So for the first time, all you're going to see is the plus. So you have to add one to start with. And then you can add a new article, like if I get some more video on how to make play a scale on a trumpet, I would add that here. And then I go through the editing process of completing all of the functionality to make that app work. For example, let's just quickly edit this. I'm not going to change anything because I'm afraid I might mess it up. Notice here, how to make a sound on a trumpet. Okay, that appears. The teaser text, you don't want to give away too much, just enough to get, just to generate a little bit more interest. I didn't add anything in here, but if you recognize some of these tools here, they function pretty much like all of the editing functions you have on any of the other apps, primarily the content app, but you can bold italicize, underline. You can change the size of the font. You can change what they call the heading of the font. You can position it right, center, left, or right justified. You can cut, copy, paste. You can add links, images, and so on, bulleted lists, and so on. I did not do any of that in the article body because the article body speaks for itself. But let's say a music teacher wanted to upload a specific instructional file, or maybe an assignment, or some guidelines for a student. You could upload a file here, and then when the student goes to the page, they could open and download that file. Some other information, you're optional, of course. The author name, I didn't give any one particular person because I'm thinking ahead to how this might function. How long you want it to appear on your web page. I didn't put an end date, so it's going to be there until I either delete it and so on. I added an accent image. That is that picture of the trumpet that you see. So I went out and grabbed that off the internet, saved it, put it up, included the alternate text, the alternative, actually it's an accessibility thing that Judy will talk about. And then I added the video. And when I added the video, I copy and pasted in the YouTube address for that video. I can edit all of this. In fact, if you wanted to, teachers might want it for a specific purpose, you can assign a specific user or a user group. I only want students in a certain class or a certain school to view this video. So if you assign a group, you have to do a little extra work. You have to create the group and so on. But you can say that means that the only people who could see that video would be people who sign in, who are authorized to do it, and so on. And then, of course, keep it active on the page. I'm just going to save this in case it recognized anything as a change. And then, as we all are advising people, now to take a look at, preview this, up here above my name, you can view the website. And then I go down to the music lesson video. And I get to see what it's going to look like. And I can change the size of the image and so on if I go back in and edit that. And that's just one place where we can add some video. Gene and I often talk about embedding video or embedding different functions on a page. That is an option as well. We're just trying to seek out some of the, we think, and streamline the process for people to come in and use this conveniently. On the book list page, I'm going to take another look at this page because this is a specific app that I found kind of interesting. So I'm going to edit that page. There is my book list app. But notice one of the apps is called Book List. So I dragged that over here, and now I want to edit it, and you'll see how you get prompt through. If you want to add a new book, you click the Add a New Book. I'm going to do that just so you get some idea of what that looks like when you do it. But this might be something for a reading club or a book club in your classroom, or anything you might be doing. You want to, every conceivable purpose. It could be for reading assignments, reading groups, and so on. You can add it there. I was thinking maybe a little higher level than that, maybe for professional development, and so on. But if I want to add a new book, now I just complete the prompts. The title, author, year published, a quick description for the books that you saw on my web page. I did a little homework and went out and got some blurbs from Amazon.com, the images and so on, the classification of the book. For code, I put in the ISBN number and let it get activated. But notice also at the top of the page here, this is the general information. This allows me to go out and get an image of the cover of the book. So you can browse for it. Again, I relied on Amazon.com and went and got the book cover images, saved those, brought them in, and completed this portion as well. I can sort the books, so no matter when you add them, you can put them in the order that you like. You can put them in maybe a chronology of when you were working with them, and so on. For example, like for here, and then you can go in and edit each of the specific books as you ordered them there. I thought that was a really kind of a neat app. I saw it referenced. I'll get to that in a second. But there are a number of things. You could add a discussion app if you want to get some feedback on the page, on the book, and so on. This is a general discussion page. We're going to go through these apps, a little bit at a time as we go through the course of the year, and more people are taking advantage and want to get interested in using their Blackboard web page. What I discovered, and actually I was ignoring it right along, is sometimes this image changes up here when I sign onto the page. Oh, okay, information, blah, 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 hot topics, and so on, tips about clearing and browsing data. But what I discovered here, oh, that's a link. Pro tip number 1. This takes you to a whole help feature side of Blackboard. Make your content adaptive. When the new website comes alive, by using these various apps, those apps are designed. The old website used something called a Flex Editor app, and that's going away, and everything's going to be upgraded seamlessly behind the scenes to the content app and so on. But it's going to allow your content to be adaptive. In other words, it's going to respond to any of the different screen sizes. If you're looking at it on a brand new iPhone 10, iPad, iPad Pro, Android, any of those devices, it's all going to be optimized for the individual device. There's going to be readable layouts. So there's some good information here. So once you sign on to, as you saw, you go to your current pages, you can access any of this information. And what I liked was, I want to go to another one. Let's see. I don't know if it was a Pro Tips 2. But I often get editor components. Let's see. One of these, the app showroom. Here's where I was headed. I'm going to whitelist this page, go to the app showroom. And down here, if you scroll down a little bit, here is some basic information on all of the apps. Some of the apps, there are some features that are controlled at the site level that have not been turned on for our district. I don't know why, if it was a conscious decision or perhaps it meant investing more money from the district level and so on. But here are all of the apps that you can avail yourself of when you are working on your page. How about a specific lunch menu app? Well, that's something a school will want to do. But we talked about using embed codes, images, a blog app that we've got to go back and talk about a little bit, Gene, for tonight, the book list, the article library, all of these apps. And if let's say, let's take a look at the blog app. Here is a how-to. When you click from the app showroom, a nice little page on exactly how those apps work. from dragging it over, managing it, from allowing commenting, and so on. So this is a very useful tool, and it's always there. All you have to do is sign in and go to your, well, I'm going to go back one, go to our hot topics, and so on. If you sign in under current pages, you're always going to get some content here. Notice there's a go to the left, go to the right, and under these pro tips that I think are, in fact, you can get lots of tips. There's lots of helps. You can go to pro tip number 2. You can get videos on how to work with some of this content as well. So, Gina, I don't know if you want to add to this. I found the app showroom to be, very informative.
Yes, it is.
Good stuff.
And I'm hoping that building a little motivation, people seeing these things will say, "Hey, maybe
it really is easy."
A web page, create a web page.
I mean, this for all intents and purposes, I think this looks fairly professional.
Yeah.
Which is a look that we were not getting in New York Learns. And since this is even going to be improved to another degree, I think, again, we want to put our best foot forward as teachers, as a district, and a classroom. Here, this looks like, a nice accessible presentation for any purpose, if you're using it to manage instruction or just put out information like a calendar and so on. So, Gina, I want to give it back to you. You want to talk about the blog and go through some of your stuff, and then I had a couple.
Well, yeah, we'll save the blog for later, but yes, sure.
Okay, right, kind of like when we.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Is that what we? All right. Whatever you'd like. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me turn it back to you.
All righty.
And
I don't even know where I am here.
Somewhere. I'm going to change presenter. Are you ready?
Yeah, I am ready.
And again, in tonight's blog that Gene will mention, or in the survey that get as a follow-up, feel free to ask any of the questions or any more detail about these, and we'll get back to you.
I have not seen. Oh, there it is. Okay. Hey. All right. And again, as Raj was showing you his web page, this is mine. And what I'd like to just show you very quickly before we go any farther, Raj was saying that, we try to bring not only information about some of the products that the board uses, in this case, we're talking tonight about the web pages, but also we try to bring in a lot of, how shall I put it? Other things, technology tools and hints and tips that we find, and we create flipboards. So on my web page, you'll see that there's a Sunday night webinar resources, and what I'm trying to do this year to kind of knock them down from having a separate one each week is put them in bi-monthly and then just leave them up here. You'll find in this particular Sunday night webinar this is the one for November and December, a lot of different articles, and you can click on it and it'll be taken to something that looks like this. It's a flipboard, and many of you are familiar with those, and if you're not, go there and click on it. It's kind of a different way of us presenting our resources to you. And the one kind of weird one that I'd like to show you tonight that I found, this is kind of a little off the beaten path, is this. Raj, this is one of our favorite places, right? Classroom Tools, right?
Free tech for teachers. Yep.
Oh, well, Free Tech for Teachers is one of our favorite sites, but this site, Classroom Tools, let's see, I thought I had been there, but I haven't. This is the craziest site, the craziest website in the world.
Isn't it in England?
I'm not sure. But well, you know what? It does have, it does say something about UK on it. Yes, Russell Tarr I'm looking at a little thing that you probably can't say. So this gentleman is the creator of the site, but that particular site that we just left had an interesting take on this. It has a lot more. As you go down, you'll find a whole bunch of little toys, things that you can use. I mean, from well, let's see, I've already lost the one, a couple of them. Like a sandwich to work with, a diagram. It has all kinds of different picks, random name pickers and things like that. But what I'd like to show you tonight is it's not limited to just what's on this page. By that I mean that if you go over here, click on this, go way down to the bottom, and it says Power Search, and click on Power Search, it takes you to a page that you can use to look for templates, games, activities that are tied into the subject material that you're working with for your class. For example, I mean, these pictures are linked to different topics: English, biology, you can see science, okay? But that's not all that you have. You can go up here and let's just type in Shakespeare. And that was because I saw that picture that was, and it will bring back arcade games, hexagon, all kinds of different games and things that you can use with the tie into your subject, Shakespeare. And this one, like Shakespeare Internet Race. These are QRs, if you're familiar with those, scavenger hunts, things like that. Shakespeare Classics, all kinds of different things that you can do. And I mean, you can type in just about anything here, and it will bring back, if I just click on English, for example, it brings back all kinds of different things that you can go through, games, so forth and so on. Most of these can be used right online. You do not have to install anything. We can install things. If you're not sure what a fake book is, go to the class tools page itself and you can figure out what fake book are. They're fake Facebook pages set up for famous people, and they're kind of fun that kids set them up. And look at all the dustbin games, scavenger hunts. I mean, things like that. Here's Jigsaw. Here's poetry based on, in English, all kinds of things. So it's kind of a interesting tool. Now, the thing is that when you go back here and click on this, sometimes you get back to his page and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you have to refresh. So yeah, this is kind of an interesting page. I know we've talked about this page before, but that Power Search over there might give you a little bit of a little bit of an idea of give you some other ideas that you can use in your classroom, extracurricular things, or even things to motivate the students a little bit more. But that's just like it might look like that. Hey, we are always talking about TED Talks, and we talk about professional development a great deal. And I know that as teachers we don't have a lot of time. Raj had shown you in his examples of that book app, showing you 3 good books. In fact, I'm just starting to read one of them now. Read one of them, and then I guess the third one's going to be on my list for a little bit later. But TED Talks for teachers, we have some really good ones, some good short talks that can help you, and this is not going to give you specific hints of the classroom, but how to learn from mistakes. This is, I just started looking at these and I did not see all of them. The one I do want to read or watch, Rod, I don't know if you've seen this one, Raj, Bring on the Learning Revolution. One of our favorite speakers, Sir Ken Robinson. If you have not ever watched Sir Ken, do yourself a favor and do this. He is entertaining, he's funny, and he brings a wealth of education and great ideas to his talk. So really, take a look at it. I haven't seen this one. Raj, have you seen this one? Are you with me?
I can't see it. Princeton.
Oh, it's bringing on the learning revolution.
I don't know when it was done.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I hadn't
seen
this one. Yeah, that's what I've seen a lot of them, but this one didn't look familiar. But anyhow, again, you might want to take a look at that. 5 good talks. And speaking of that, tied into, one of the things that we tie into TED Talks is TED Ed. I just ran into this. We talk about TED Ed a great deal, and the fact that, there are, oh my goodness, I don't remember how many lessons are on here, but this is a great resource for everybody, because it presents materials in kind of a really unique, interesting way that I think is very, very motivating for the students, in that basically they come to see a video first. And this one was kind of interesting. Where do math symbols come from? Have you ever figured, where they get these things from? This might be good to show the kids. And that's the first part of the TED Ed. If you've never done this, and then after that, you can do this. It presents a series of questions based on the video. These are basically fact questions. Next, they have a dig deeper, and they have several articles that you can read that will expand the topic a little bit more. And lastly, they usually give some sort, let's see if I can read I'll get the whole discussion question. It's not showing, and I don't know why. Okay, here's the discussion question. Okay, is there any way the math notation can be improved? Okay, and you can actually comment on it. Raj, that reminds me, I got an email concerning TED Ed. I'll talk to you about later, okay?
Very good.
Yeah, it's a question that we need to address. Okay, but anyhow, TED Ed, pretty interesting.
And add to that, Gene, I don't know if you're finished or not, but underneath discuss is, if you really like this, you could take and create your own lessons, questions, etc., based on this one.
You can adapt it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, thank you for adding that, Raj. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've forgotten to mention that. Hey, one real quick little thing, and then I'll shut up. One thing I noticed, it's a place that we've talked about, but I think they've really redone it, and if you've never been there, you may want to go there and take a look. It's called Newsela. And up till a while ago, it was basically, what they do is, just to show you, let me get one of their articles very quickly. 5, here we go, 5, here it is, 5, just an article. But really one of the great things about this article is that this article can be assigned to your whole class and all your readers, no matter how good or bad they are. You can create your own account and all that, but I just wanted to show you this. Up here, notice it says English 810, that's the Lexile score. You can go from 5, 10, which is a grade 3 level. You can just go. For students who are slower readers, set them at a lower level. For the best students, here it is at the same article with the same facts in that at a grade 12 level. Now, up till a while ago, I thought, that is really great in itself. And another thing, based on the article, you can then click on Open Activities, and they have questions that they can do, power words that they can work with. Okay. Some of the things you do have to have a pro or paid for account, but many of them you don't. Like the write, for example, maybe they can't write it here, but they give you a good question dealing with this article that you could copy and use in your class as well. Now, the one other thing that I've noticed that they've done to improve it is it's not just dealing with news now. They may have to go in and redo this, because I went to the library and now they have arts and culture, things like that. If you click on arts and culture, for example, yeah, this deals with Robert Frost's poem, The Road Not Taken, which was in today's New York Times crossword puzzle, if any of you do that. But again, students can take this. Notice this is 950. You can make it somewhat simpler. Okay, and students can understand it a little bit better. Of course, the poem won't change, but the explanation and so forth. So there's a lot more. If you go up to the library, here's the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And there's so much more now. So if you haven't been there, it's not just news anymore. It's got all kinds of things. Yes, it does have news. It has text sets and a whole bunch more. So you might want to do yourself a favor and take a look at Newsela.
The share button there, Gene. And
share, where?
On the left,
okay.
The little arrow. Where it says,
I'm looking.
Print plus at the top of that, above your right
up here.
Next to it is share, I believe.
I don't see share. The word share.
No, I see the arrow. That's the,
this.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh.
So you
could,
just wondering if you could just simply copy the URL.
Yeah, mail to your friends. It says, check out this article and body. I found this article on Newsela, da, 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 da. You're sharing the article. You're sending them the link. Okay?
That's what I was looking at, because I'm thinking of going back to the Blackboard, a blog class blog page. You could put the article there and that's true too, and so on your web page.
And I'm just looking at this, and you can look at that. I just downloaded it as a PDF too.
Mm-hmm.
See, and then you can download it, I suspect, in the various. Now notice there's a 6. Notice
Alexa.
There's
okay.
There's Alexa. So So there's so much you can do with this. This is a very useful site. And again, what I'm showing you is all free. There is an advanced, if you want to go into that and buy a subscription, you can do even more things, set up classes and things like that, where you can assign it and so forth to different classes, to different people. But that's pretty good. Hey, with that, I'm going to put it back to you, Raj. You might want to talk about the blog and so forth. Is that what I
will do?
Okay, I'll send that right back to you. And
okay, you got the basic information for tonight's website. I'm going to go to the district homepage, take you to Teacher Resource Center, and then over here we have the webinar registration page and blog for November 2017. And we are storing those so you can go back and look at them and so on. Now, this is the page that probably most of you went to register for tonight's webinar. And underneath that, ongoing is the Sunday night webinar blog, and we encourage and invite you to post a comment on the blog. You can do so anonymously by simply clicking on the word comments, and then give some feedback, ask a question, make a comment, or whatever on any of the content in tonight's webinar. And then what we do is behind the scenes, and what you would do as a teacher if you use it in your classroom, is go in and approve the comments. And you can also comment on a comment if you like. So right now there are none because we haven't directed you here yet. But in addition to the survey that you will get as a follow-up to the webinar after an hour later, after it closes, or perhaps you get to it tomorrow. Gene mentioned time, that there's so little of it. Today you do have an extra hour. Everybody wants more time. You got an hour of time today, and today only, and we get it back from you in the spring, unfortunately. But use the blog, please, and make a comment. We want to share on that. We might spend more time on a future webinar to do that. I want to go and look at my Flipboard tonight. I don't know if, okay, there was a hand raised there. This is my Flipboard. Gene and I have dozens, well, how about 118 and counting Flipboards. I've pulled back a little. I've become more generic. This is one I've been working on since last June. And some of the articles that Gene talked about are here. We also have another, Gene didn't mention it tonight, but on the teacher resource, technology resources page, there's just called Informal Technology page, which is or informal professional development. And it's a page of a collection of articles, not all necessarily about technology and so on, but they're just articles that you may find of interest in just keeping pace with what's going on. And then again, our Flipboard pages are here. Flipboard is a form of social bookmarking, as Gene has mentioned, and it's a way to collect articles of any subject area, any matter, and so on. And it's something that you could well do within your classroom as a project for your kids or with your students. Create a Flipboard of maybe background information on a culture study that you're doing, or perhaps something in social studies and whatnot. But it really is very simple. It's free. It's a way to handle the massive amounts of information that are out there. I said we've been doing this using Flipboard to deliver our Sunday night webinars for a while. These are all different topics that I follow. Innovation, see Disney a couple of places, education technology. These are all different articles, and it references, and I have, as I have mentioned, roughly 118 magazines, and wow, quite a few followers here. I haven't checked that in a while. That people are keeping tabs on. As I go through all the feeds that I get, I plunk an article in the different magazines that I have curated. Many of these are dedicated, as you can see, to a particular Sunday night over the past couple of years. Some are more topical oriented, like just Office 365 and so on. And that's the one last thing, with just one more minute to go, Gene, and we can wrap it up. I came across this on my Facebook today. This is actually an animation. If you follow Facebook, you could search for it. But I don't know if you've seen the movie Zootopia.
Yes, I know that part of it.
Famous scene in the DMV, but someone was clever enough to take and rework the context for that. Teachers waiting for students typing their usernames and passwords. And that's one of my favorite all-time movie scenes. And with that, Gene, I think we're wrapping.
I think we've reached the magic hour.
Yes, we have. And go ahead, wrap it up.
Oh no! I just Roger, thank you, and thank everybody for joining us tonight. Hope you got an idea or two out of it. If not, Well, let us know what you would like, or if you need more of something, please let us know. That's what we're here for. We hope you'll join us next week. Have a great week. And with that, I think we'll say good night.
Yes, good night, everybody. Please respond to the blog, the survey that will follow up shortly. And again, have a great week. Hope you've enjoyed your extra hour today. We'll take it. We'll take it back from you next Sunday night. How's that?
There we go.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.